We are today going to be learning every strat used by the best teams at the map on said map. Class, what map do you want to learn today? We're voting for NIGHTHAVEN, I guess. So who is the best NIGHTHAVEN team in the world? Now, traditionally, you think it's hailing from NA, right? NA has been the strongest NIGHTHAVEN region for a million years. Space Station beat M80 on it, which is ex-Beast Coast, which were undefeated on NIGHTHAVEN with me as their coach, and they also beat DZ. So you'd think that Space Station was the best NIGHTHAVEN team in the world, except for the fact that both Team Secret beat them 7-3 and W7M 7-1 them. Team Secret also beat G2 8-7 on NIGHTHAVEN Labs, but I do think that the 7-1 scoreline is a bit more shocking, so we're going to be learning from W7M, actually, what they do on NIGHTHAVEN to 6-0 defense half against SSG. But yeah, this is my new series where I'm learning basically every single strat. For those who don't know, like, the defaults, it'll be a really good time to learn defaults, but I'm learning every single strat from the best team at the maps. I heard from multiple pros that W7M is surprising. NA is overall stronger as a region on NIGHTHAVEN, but W7M really surprised everyone with their strats on NIGHTHAVEN, and that I should really review that. I heard that from Super, the coach of Shopify Rebellion, that I should watch this game, so here we go. W7M start out on defense with a double hard breach ban. Okay, so this is pretty typical. NIGHTHAVEN's one of the maps you want to do that because of the amount of breaches that are extremely important. The IT breach, the garden breach, after that opening up the pillar breach and opening up the garage breach further to get further control onto the map when you walk in. So they're going to start out, they're going to play a kind of a default top extension. So let's go ahead and wait for them to set up this top extension. I'm assuming they're going to play the Azami top garage. They're going to have the Malusis be, you know, kind of like notifications everywhere. The Clash, obviously super good for that late round for playing around the pillar area. And they're going to have the smoke playing Aqua over here. Ooh, castle on this. Okay. Okay, let's look this at it. So they're going to barricade the bottom Aqua door because, once again, Aqua is a super important position you want to play because if the enemy takes garage control, like the first thing as an attacker, what do you think it'll do? You open up this IT wall, and from there you try to take garage control because this is the next thing, right? You usually want to hop a shield through top garage, and then once you take top garage, the only thing stopping you from winning the round, if you have people in top garage, is going to be this Aqua control. Right, because if the enemy takes Aqua, then you sandwich this site, then everyone in this site is dead, and you just walk into the bomb chassis and plant the bomb or plant it on this hard wall over here. That is the general idea of it. There's two takes on this site, right? There's the garage take from garage, and you go Aqua, or you go split side garden, and you go IT late. So that's kind of the idea. So that's why, as a smoke, you need to hold down this power position. If you are more of a power spot player, holding down Aqua is super important here. Barricading the bottom so you don't get lurked on from underneath. And then now you see they also have the castle here, the Malusi, and the barbed wire to cover that like back flank. So SSG are going to get underneath. And now W7M need to like kind of sense it out. Now I think W7M pretty much right now, if you look at their positions, they're pretty much doing a 4 top extension, and Azami is going to get back up into garage, right? So you see she's kind of on garage stairs right now, but it's a 5 top extension, and it's kind of like default extensions all across the top floor. So before we go on more into the round and how they play around the strat, that's a typical idea, right? Is you have a guy in Aqua, these are your positions. Azami is super good for this Rafters position because, once again, you can create a lot of like Azami barricades over here in Rafters to kind of help out with your hold over here. Your Clash can rotate around into sight and play on this pillar position, or go out in front of IT and block off IT entirely, or help out with power and garage back. And it's like this 5-man full horizontal extension on almost every single part of the map. Right, so here you see, when we go back to where we left off in the round, we see SSG going to play this garden push. So the most important thing for SSG here is to take the meeting control, open the IT wall, as you saw with the Hibanas. Right here, they're going to Hibana trick open that wall. And the Buck's getting underneath because at a certain point when you fight into these layers, he becomes one of the most important players on this attack. The first entry to get into garden side, right, is to get this control that they're droning out. So they get meeting control, they get lobby stairs control, and then the attackers are going to slowly make their way up here. And just like I said earlier, that E-box control is so incredibly important. Usually people play here with a mute jammer, but the Clash is also super good for it for this reason, right? Because the Blackbeard entering into E-box, it gets countered out by this Clash, and usually you can also see defenders play with a shield in front of here. But once again, the W7M are going to use the Clash. They bring the smoke close to play the shotgun, and that's why the Buck underneath underneath is so huge for SSG because W7M, they know that the smoke close shotgun is one of the most common positions. So when you're playing on NIGHTHAVEN, E-Box is a really solid anchor position. When I play with Bolo on this map at Challenger Quals, I try to play it even though I've never practiced it, and that's why I got railed. E-Box is so important, and it's such a good shotgun position that Benjamin Master expects it, therefore he goes with Buck underneath just to buck out this area to progress the push. The smokes comes through and they retake E-Box. You see how much leverage or how much like coins and stock W7M are playing into E-Box. Now, one thing you'll realize right now is Benjamin Master just died because this is basically how you read the strat you're going against. The strat's all of the same archetypes, right? If SSG went for a garage take, Loban would have stayed in top garage this entire round, because with the Azami barricades and whatnot, he could just play there. W7M call out based off these two entries that they're going for the garden take, the split take. And that means there's going to be a buck underneath, which is the next step. And that means Loban, instead of playing garage unnecessarily, which he doesn't really need to do because there's not really people entering garage, he's going to go down the first floor and flank that guy, making the vert underneath. And that's going to basically create this insane choke. That kill alone that Loban gets on the flank by going through the basement is going to relieve the entire pressure off the map for the smoke playing close with a shotgun. Now the smoke can play close on this angle the entire time, and we get to the kind of this default position. This is what you should be doing against a garden take, right? Is you play the close E-Box, you hold E-Box, and as long as you hold E-Box, you can also have someone pillar, and as long as you hold pillar and E-Box, well then they can't get through this entry chokehold with the long angles from garage as well. Crazy dodge by Dotas, does not catch or does not dodge the nade successfully, but that was a really heads up good flank play by Loban. Right? Now the Clash gets to push through exactly so and just press the fuck out of it. And now W7 are going to push together because they held down that E-Box control so incredibly well. And they also read the fucking... Oh my god! He hopped over to kill him. Really good aggression call by W7M. If you notice the flow of plays that happened here that W7M did so incredibly well is that, number one, you immediately had Loban going underneath to go for this kill onto Buck. And then immediately after that kill onto Buck happens, SSG realized that this pillar position now that's under soft floor and this double clash shotgun position are no longer clearable, right? They cannot walk through this breach without walking into that deadly crossfire. So SSG now have to rotate bodies around. So now we're going to see the SSG members start to walk towards garage side because maybe there's a gap here. We cannot go through E-Box and garden side anymore. So what if there's a gap here? But off of that, W7 realized, hey, their bodies are split up, right? It's a 5v3. If just as much as just the Blackbeard is showing his face over here, that means there can only be 2 people garden side, and that means we have a 4v2 garden side. And that's exactly why W7M start to aggress onto this garden side. And Clash fully pushes through because J9 shows his face over here, and now they're able to take advantage of their man and completely press the other side with the Clash. So Clash, things to take away from this round if you're a viewer, Clash is extremely broken. So here's a blueprint of the strat. Now I'm going to focus more so on holes, positions, and reinforcements, and I'm not going to put every piece of util because for the sake of time, but I will put really important util. And speaking of the important util, the most important and really the most interesting piece of utility and operative use on the strat is the castle. If you notice back in the beginning of the prep phase of the strat, where does all the castles go? We saw one on the Aqua door, but the rest of them, you see Dota's putting them on the bottom of garage. He's putting them bottom garage. And more interesting than not, they also have the bottom garage walls double reinforced. It's like they're putting all of their util into this garage setup, which actually makes a lot of sense considering that they have 2 players there and a double angle on this wall. Traditionally, you only see this wall single reinforced. Now you have a double angle onto this wall, and this actually plays into the setup a lot more. So this is like the little nuances that you guys don't notice because it looks like a default strat on surface, but little changes like this can entirely change the setup of the strat. They're putting so much resources into garage so that they can hold it for the entire round and then use it to actually win out the rest of the round. They have 2 players in the garage almost the entire round. They have the castle near the garage door and the Azami threatening the flank. And because of that, they have these walls castled. But you saw the Azami didn't actually flank through the games or vending. She flanked through the basement. Why? Because she dropped the hatch. She dropped the hatch because the castle setup pushed SSG away from taking garage, pushed them towards taking vending side, or sorry, garden side for the split take, and that means the Buck's gonna come underneath. And where is that vulnerable to? This flank. So you can now kind of see how this entire garage setup basically set up that entire round just from this strat right here, and that's why strategies in Siege is so lovely. The second quirky thing about this strat is usually as a defense, you make the rotate this way on this wall, because you know that if the enemy takes in a garden, if they have this open, then this guy from just garden door can essentially get an angle onto the entire site. But W7Ms also decided to switch that up, and this actually works out for them. Why does this work out for them? Again, because they've put so much resources into garage. Now this angle can be used for pixel angles. Before, if the rotate was on this side, you'd be staring as a wall as a defender. But now you have a pixel angle, a long pixel angle, that we actually see Dotas completely fry Ashen off of right here. Which Ashen is probably not used to fighting, but Dotas is used to fighting because he practices this strat. And similarly this way, that's why this second garage wall is open. You're usually used to having double garage reinforced in case you want to leave garage after the enemy takes it, because, well, this wall basically gives the enemy team a long angle from just the garage door directly into sight. But because they have 2 people in garage, castle barricades underneath to make sure no one can get under them and walk up the garage staircase, 2 players inside garage, they want to fight this to the death, and look at this long angle, guys. So this is very, very interesting, and this is why I want to make videos like this, because people think NIGHTHAVEN's so default, and the strat on surface looks very default, but little tiny changes like the reinforcements on garage, double reinforcing the lower garage wall and castles, allows this crazy long angle to be done from garage, and meanwhile the entire time your clash is right here, shocking them, and they can't walk through because there's a long angle staring at them as they walk to the site. Let's go to the next site, guys. So the next site, W7M are going to go to basement, sorry. Right now you see something very curious is that Palu is going to use that castle once again to double castle off Animus, the single breach. Right? They're going to basically essentially box it off and be like, hey, we're giving it to you for free. And they're most likely going to open the hatch right above it because they're going for a roam. Right, so because they're coordinating a roam above, they're going to double reinforce the garage wall so they can play around this lower garage area, open the hatch, it'll threaten the enemy, and it'll stop them from hitting the site, 1, and 2, threaten them for getting the entire site. Or, sorry, it'll threaten them for getting that wall open and trying to enter. Another important castle is going to be that 90 window castle. This is such a huge castle for the roam that you almost always want to get because a 90 window player cuts the roam in half. Traditionally speaking, NIGHTHAVEN is divided into 2 halves. It's going to be the kitsch half and it's going to be the garage half, right? And the garage half, you have the vert over the single wall, you have the vert over the double wall, but the kitsch half allows you to stop the exo execute, right? So by having this 90 window castled off, you're basically stopping these 2 roams from joining each other, and you have two people on one side, 1 person on this side. You split the roam and you get 4v1 the other half. So that's why that castle barricade is so incredibly important. And it looks like W7M are going for a full roam. So you already look at these player positions. There's going to be no one inside. I'm sure the warden's going to go back to site almost immediately as soon as he can, or maybe he's going to play in storage. One person's going to probably go on the site, but you can see it's a pretty heavy roam. They're going to have 2 players top floor. It's 3 players mid floor right now, but it's probably going to be 2 in mid floor and then 1 player in sight. And that castle setup actually on that single Anus wall we saw earlier is going to basically stop the threat from going through. Warden's now up here inside of storage, making vert, and that's why you hold storage, and that's why you want to roam above, because you can stop all the plants from above. And also, it's going to be the warden on this angle because, once again, that way they can't smoke rush glass plant inside of the site, right? So now we see SSG trying to get this main double wall open with the Maverick. This probably shows us they are going for some sort of smoke glass Montaigne plant. I'm not exactly sure which direct execute they're going to go for, but they get the wall soft, and they're all basically coming through onto the main wall now. But This is kind of like a ranked strat you would typically expect to see with all the smokes and whatnot, and now it's just a 1v1 between the Warden and the Glass. And basically the way SSG strat works here is that they know that opening this main wall and having the smokes and having the Monty in here is going to draw the people onto the vert that this Warden is currently playing. That being said, that's why Benjamaster is actually positioned himself right outside the top floor, because he's going to go in, run in, and try to take that 1v1 on the Warden at the same time that this plant is going down, and SSG are going to have the Glass go for the vert fight against this Warden. It's like a 50-50. If he kills the Warden, SSG just straight up win the round. If he loses to the Warden, then SSG straight up lose the round. Yeah. 50-50 gunfight, and remember now W7M are also holding EXO side because they don't have it. Benjamaster, you see him outside that storage window. He's ready to start going in, hopping in on that guy, and here comes the planet temp directly on here. But full dots on the vert. Yep, he's gonna kill the bomb planter down. And Benjamaster was not able to kill the Warden. Neither was the Glass. And Dots is just playing this position so perfectly. And you see all these roamers top floor to hold his back. And as long as he is alive, they have the win condition, right? The win con. In fact, I think the only person near site is going to be Palu in the EXO area. And he's able to play that area because of the way the strat's forming, and we'll talk about more after the round. But he's able to play in EXO as the lone site player because he doesn't need to be in sight panicking to stop this plant because of the amount of vert around site. And here we go. Now SSG, once again, they realize, oh, they have the vert. We can no longer go into double wall side. We're going to go into single wall side. But remember, what's on the single wall side is going to be the double castle side. They're boxed in here like a fish, and there's fucking vert above them. And that's why the enemies were trying to clear out the Azami from the lower garage, because Azami lower garage would have had the strat. But look, no one's in sight. No one's in sight. So all of you guys saying, oh, not even so default now, SSG are completely lost because of the way W7M has set this up. And it allows their site players to play so incredibly proxy that it ends up working out for them. So it's like a brand new way to play this map almost that we've already seen on the last round, and now we're learning it on this round too. The way they've given up single wall, the way they've made angles for this double wall, and the way they hold vert super incredibly aggressively completely shut down any chance SSG had of taking the map. So here's the 2-2-1 roam that W7M used for NIGHTHAVEN basement. Now you'll notice that it's very, very top heavy. So when we say 2-2-1, usually in pro lingo, it means how many players per floor are you doing. Okay, so you'll already notice one thing that they do very strangely is they leave the single wall soft. Because guess what? We're holding this control and storage side so incredibly hard that no matter what, with the double reinforcement on garage, all these reinforcements tucking our roamers up on this side, and the player playing on vert over here, now they use the castles to effect in the reinforcement on this wall to make it, you know, the single breach essentially a kill box. And because our two roamers are storage side, it's a heavily storage side of roam. And Warden just gets to sit comfortably on this vert to deny the main breach because no one's going to go above him, because guess who's above holding for him? Azami's above in top garage and Legion's above in the other part holding with Azami, and they have this tucked up setup on the top floor roam, or they could play off each other. And you might have also noticed that what's really interesting is a site player position. He's not playing in the middle of site, ready to, you know, pounce on either of the executes if they're going down. He doesn't need to, because his players inside of control and storage have the vert over all the site. He's playing inside of EXO, and I'll tell you why that is. He's playing inside of EXO because this is the weak part of the strat, right? If you're playing that heavily over storage side, you're weak to an EXO side execute. So he's actually going to juggle between the EXO side gap, and he can also fall back into sight in case they manage to get onto this tuck position, which they all have vert for, but also the cross of the site, so he can get back to playing contact in sight, but also flood back up to play EXO contact, which in the case that people are coming over onto this side of the map, he can call for his boys to help him. And then Legion on the hatch above, or either in E-box, because Legion has a secondary shotgun, he can pop this hatch from above and immediately help his boy down here in the games area. And if they're coming onto the EXO area, well, Electrical actually has vert directly into the vending machine. So Garden, Electrical can make vert immediately over the hop-in over here, and that's what Legion has dominion over, just to help out his boy. So you'll see that actually by giving up this as a kill box, and then basically by giving up single breach as a kill box and then stacking all of your bodies on the storage and garage side of the map. They're able to essentially play away from site with the site players. So even though SSG hit site and there's barely anyone there and they got the control for free, W7M, the moment SSG started hitting that site and they know they weren't clearing them out on the top floor, you saw immediately what was W7M's response? That they immediately had all 4 of the roamers on the first floor. They're all holding this warden's back, making sure he doesn't, and you can use the Azamis just like this Azami is doing over here. You use the Azamis to just block off the doorways, right? This garage bottom window is blocked off so they can stay around bottom garage. You see Mudroom now is also blocked off. This Azami is so incredibly oppressive. It makes, they're just holding down garage to die because they have maintaining the vert all over site. So there you go. That's their basement roam. Make sure you screenshot that as possible, and let's go ahead and get looking onto that next strat they're playing. Kitchen is becoming increasingly popular on NIGHTHAVEN for some reason. I'm not actually too sure why, but now we're going to get a very rare treat. As opposed to storage being the third side, we're going to see kitchen being the third side, actually. We see Frostman over here on the Black Lurk. They're actually going to give up the game side, so no horizontal extension by game side. And as you know, holding vertical control is extremely important over kitchen because almost the entire side, besides maybe the hop-in on this area, is going to be soft floor. So you can see Loban's already top floor. Dots, this lobby staircase position is super strong for kitchen because what it lets you do is it lets you maintain control over lobby, which is the direct breach into site that most attackers take. So by holding here, you both hold down lobby and top floor by holding the lobby staircase. We're likely going to see Dots play here with the warden, and you see this really excessive usage of barricades, like 1 barricade, 2 barricade, 3 barricades down here by the storage door, all to basically be stoppages in case SSG is going for the lurk opposite side over, and they can play comfortably over here through this angle, directly onto the lobby wall breach if they ever get to that point of fighting in this round. Shield on 90 side, and they're going to have a player in bottom garage, or bottom lobby, sorry. You see playing this kind of Harry Potter position, bottom lobby, super important. SSG, once again, because of these barricades, they do see the free roam. So you see a lot of positions are like almost purposely given up, and he does get caught off that position. Now, that's one of the downsides to actually giving it up. SSG actually get 2 immediate picks off the top floor here, and this is one of the issues with kitchen, is that there's so much ground to cover that the lurks are super strong on kitchen, right? If you lurk top floor across from the opposite side over, it's super hard, but now you see this lobby staircase position that we were talking about earlier. This is the vert that SSG want to take against them. W7M actually end up not really having like that much top floor presence besides Dots on this staircase. Benjamin Master has made his way to the basement, but there are lots of lurks on this side. Now remember, W7M did get a perfect defense half against SSG, so I am actually curious to see how they brought it back. Dots keeps that top floor control, wins his one against Ash, and I believe the other player up top of him was Loban. And I believe they're going for kind of like a suicide type aggressive play style defense. Yeah, he was right in front of the garden breach, and he almost, I remember I did an example of W7M playing once from one of my aggro Brazil video example, and he was also fighting he was shoving his face in the exact same breach. So it looks like Loban literally plays to go 1-for-1 or shoot drones and fall off back to his fucking Scopos in sight. Palu completely shuts down the vert by holding this vending position, and now they have all the power spots they need. They have vending, they have sight, and they have lobby control. So despite the fact that SSG are going to take vert control above them now, they're not going to be able to kill any of them because they're under hard floor. The guy inside's playing in the A-bomb site where there's hard floor. Dots is playing inside lobby where his angles back into sight, and Palu is playing in like the lounge/90 area, I believe. So regardless of the fact that SSG is able to make vert now all over the site, it doesn't matter because W7M have done this extension, which I will show you right after this, obviously. But here comes a Ying to clear out the player in lobby, but it's going to be a Warden, right, with the shotgun. So what can you really do? And he plays this absolutely perfectly. Look at the shotgun jiggles. Wait, good mechanics. Bing, bang, boom. W7M bring back a 3v5 on the round because guess what? That might seem like a flux, but it's a scrappy. It's supposed to be a scrappy round. So here it is. And one thing you already notice is that they don't have all the reinforcements down. In fact, they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reinforcements down. If you go back in the game and actually see, when people start dying in this game, there actually are only 5 reinforcements down. You'll see a couple pro teams do this a lot, actually, when you know the enemy might play fast and you don't really need anything else in the setup, that they, you know, end up not doing that. So the way the setup it works is they're kind of almost giving up all of, you know, the storage side lurk, which ends up biting them in the ass, but it's a very light, scrappy extension. They don't have a lot of util down. They don't have a heavy setup down. They want to play to go for 1-for-1 picks and kind of out-aura you on the site. One thing that you might not know about Kitchen is obviously this hatch into freezer is important, but you can actually run outside and reinforce this hatch in time before the attackers can get anywhere to kill you. If you're very new to this game, you should always do this if your team somehow ends up on Kitchen. But another thing you'll notice on this strat is that it's very scrappy. It's very like, we don't have a lot of win cons here. I mean, we have the Fenrir basically guarding the back just in case they want to lurk over, but it's not going to work because the Frost immediately dies 90. The Fenrir is like the only thing stopping it, so it doesn't really work out. Azami's going to be the site player, and the Warden's going to single-handedly hold top lobby stairs and bottom lobby stairs, and we have basically Lobin shoving his face in the garden breach, right? So basically, Lobin and the Warden are going to play this double crossfire on the lobby top staircase area, and the next default step that, you know, attackers do, these are reinforced, right, is they open up this wall so that once you're an attacker, you basically cut off anyone from helping this meeting side. This is why, you know, Kitchen is such a bad defender site, you know, traditionally speaking, what people have in mind, because they open one wall and no one can help them anymore, and then they take lower lobby with like all the windows, and then now these guys are fucked up top. So, but that's the thing though. Lobin wants that because Lobin's going for a really fucking aggressive play. This is well documented. Every single time he plays a site, he always goes for a super aggressive 1-for-1 trade on Garden because they know this site's not good defender-wise. So they're all just going to go for crazy plays. So this is kind of like a crazy play, like kind of rank strat, right? Lobin's going to go for this 1-for-1 over here. You know, Frost is going to go for 1-for-1s in lobby. Warden's going to try to single-handedly hold down lobby, and there's angles back into site. And all these players are basically just going to go for like just aura farming plays with kind of like a shitty setup because that's just how it is. It's not a defender side that you can kind of play a lot of win cons on because the win cons are kind of bad. Without reinforcing it, can't take my head on the script. Yeah, there's a way to kill you, but I mean, it's very... not a lot of people know about it. But I guess if there was one thing to take away from this strat, I mean, I don't know if they had it directly in it, but this is one thing, like, if they ended up losing lobby, here's the thing, there's usually two, like, sides it takes once again, so, like, you can either take this, you know, this side over from, like, you know, the storage side, and, like, the top floor over from the other side of the map over, or you take direct lobby, right, where you open up that garden wall, and then you just start assaulting lobby with all your players. If they had lost lobby, they would have had this player inside of games with all the barricades and the reinforced wall preventing them from hitting opposite side over, and they would have had this long angle onto the lobby breach stopping them from getting into sight. And then also you have Frost over here with a shield on 90, also basically stopping that lobby push. Right, so that's kind of their idea. Very scrappy, very light, but what can you expect out of the tertiary site other than that? And you might be surprised to know, but it's very common for basically on like weaker sites that don't have strong win cons to have basically a fuck it, right, fight your spots, play like it's rank strat. And that's exactly what Deputy 7M does. On to the next strat. The third ban phase comes through, and SSG reasonably banned the Clash because that's what they used to fuck them over the last time to slow them down around this E-box area. W7M banned another Heartbreacher, basically just like making your life as miserable as possible from getting these walls open. Now you see kind of the exact same strat being played out by W7M with a couple of adjustments. So they still have these same Malusis over here on the E-box window, on the garden walkthrough. They still have the same setup in the long angles from garage. This time, actually, they played a double reinforce off garage, not making that long angle, and they have Palu on the Mira instead. So before he was on the Clash, now he's on the Mira, but every other operator is almost essentially the same. Dots is going to hold over here with the Warden Shotgun. Actually, Volp's going to play with Smoke Shotgun close E-box instead. Okay, I actually don't remember who was on who, but they've traded, basically, if you look at who they traded, because the Clash is banned, they've traded the Clash, and they've traded the Castle for a Mira and I believe a Warden. That's the two traded operators, and because, once again, you'll see lots of teams will have these micro adjustments on their strats, right? So like they'll have a secondary option to play the strats on to throw the enemy off so they're not playing into the same thing again. Because they no longer have the castles to barricade off that lower garage and stop this lower garage push against the Azami, now they're going to double reinforce off garage and leave a flex reinforcement open. If you see it right here, that's a flex reinforcement so that the Azami can actually fall off garage and give it up. Right? So it's a little adjustments like these that you really want to catch when you're watching these games and studying them and trying to learn from them. So here we go. Dots is going to play the Aqua position still because you still want to... This is kind of like an essential position. So once again, SSG get Benjamaster underneath. And I'm now W7M has to kind of sense out what kind of take they're going for. With the positioning of the vert that Benjamin Master is about to make, you're expecting SSG to go for a garage take, right? Because the biggest thing with garage takes is that the player's top garage, the way for them to fall back into sight is to go through the garage rotate top rafters, which the buck basically can cut off by making for under it, and that's why you have them going there. And you see the players right now, they have the double shield. SSG very likely going to hop into the garage window with the double shield. The mirror placed on the breach, now I'm sure as those of you who know ball and have been watching me for a while, but those, you'll know what this is for. But those who don't, I'm going to explain. You put a mirror on the wall because a double wall denial is, banned, right? The third best wall denial operator is going to be Mira, because if you pop this mirror open, you can't put a thermite on it, because if they pop the mirror, it'll go ahead and break the thermite as well. But then you could also lace with the trajectory, the lineups, an impact or a C4 through the mirror itself and break off any hard breach placed right next to the mirror, especially with a ace, thermite, and Hibana band on the board. With Grim being their only hard breach, SSG cannot afford to make a mistake, especially if W7M decide to triple reinforce off garage, which in that case they have nothing to open it up with. And now here we go. SSG used their last hard breach. So what does W7M decide to do now? We'll have to see. Here we go. Newer's going to go around, get ready to drop down the roof and immediately hop into garage, and that's going to be how they take garage now. W7M with the Azami setup, and you see why the two Azamis over there, you can see how good these Azamis are. They're kind of two-sided Azamis. If you're playing on garage near the pillar side, or if you're playing now garage on this side of garage, like the left side, then you're blocked off from people on the breach, on the rappel of the breach from killing you. But if you're playing near the door, then you're blocked off from people bottom garage getting an angle onto you. So it's very, very solid position with the Azami. So that's why Azami is so powerful for NIGHTHAVEN garage. I think it's actually better to play there than the pillar position. So here comes the Blackbeard hopping through. You see, this is exactly what they're going to go for. And Folt's actually going to get a really good kill onto the players in garage. And SSG fully commit this flood through. And they're hitting every single pressure point at once. But W7M completely shut it down with their gun skill and their crossfires. It was a scrappy round, which what happens with the rushes, and that just ends up being what happens. W7 completely clean house, and that's just how it goes. So there it is. It's the exact same as last strat, but it's micro adjusted. Now, I do urge viewers to figure out the significance of the adjustments, but not necessarily what makes the adjustment vital, or doing the adjustments in ranked or with their team. But here it is, right? They gave up this garage position, so as a result, they're double reinforcing garage because they know they're not going to hold it for the entire round, and they don't want to give them the free long angle directly into sight from the garage door. Right, and they use the mirror now as the AIDS thing that they have to fight against on the E-box side. Now SSG go for another rush on the site, which ends up not working for them, so we didn't really get to see these adjustments fuck SSG over. I lied. We actually do see the adjustment fucking over SSG, because SSG expect W7M to once again hold the shit out of garage with two people. Remember, SSG are like, oh shit, they held garage last time with two people. We're gonna adjust based off that and take garage. And if you know how garage plays out, this is the rotate to leave garage. Walking here gets you killed by breach. You can't really get back into sight anyway, other than going through this rotate, right? That's where the buck comes in. The buck gets in underneath. The buck bucks open this rotate. That's where you see Benjamin Master goes. Now these two people are stuck inside garage, and now SSG, if they get this IT wall open, well then it's just GG's. Right, you basically have these two players caught off, you get 2 free picks, and it's a 5v3 off of the Blackbeard hopping in. That's where W7M fuck over SSG, because they adjusted it to, oh, you can't make a walkable breach. You have triple hard breach bans. You can't walk into IT to kill us. They essentially say, fuck you, you can't get a walkable breach IT, which, once again, denies an entire entry point for the garage take, because you want to go through garage door, through IT breach, and the garage window. Now you can only go through 2. The second thing they do is they only leave 1 guy in garage. So despite the fact that this kill onto garage was very, very successful, they only get 1 pick off of it, and they don't get this double long angle. Because SSG was also banking the fact that, okay, there's no more hard breach. We have 0 hard breach now anymore in the round. And if this wall's double reinforced, if it's single reinforced, well then we have free load because we take garage and we can just get an angle into sight and they can't run around. But guess what? If it's double reinforced and you don't lose that many bodies off of it, well then we could just W7 can play anywhere. They can walk around site completely free. This Aqua guy that was playing earlier inside of Aqua could just rotate straight back in and play like nothing's ever happened because there's no more threat from here. So the micro adjustment actually predicted SSG's response to the garage take against a garage hold, but now it's no longer a hard garage hold, and now they read SSG, reading them on the previous round, and that's why you do micro adjustments, folks. And now the rest of the round of history, basically they're forced to go through bad chokes now because they're unable to get this wall open, they're unable to get Aqua control, and they all essentially die. So that's why you want to have micro adjustments in your chat, and that's why Siege is such a beautiful game. It's literally FPS chess, because you're literally predicting entire traits of strategies like this. If you're an IGL, this is what you have to think about at IGL, and this is why so many IGLs go like fucking quadra negative, because you have to constantly think about shit like this. We're going back to the basement now. This time we have basically almost the entire same operator lineup. Let's see what we had last time. Hold on. I don't have what I did last time. No, I should have kept it, man. This time we go back to basement now, and it's kind of the same thing with the exact same reinforcement setup as last time. We're gonna have micro adjustments once again though. So the operators, I believe last time we had a warden, now we don't have a warden, right? We no longer have a warden, and we no longer have a legion. And instead, I believe the two operators cancel, or replacing them will be mute, and will be the recruit. The thing is, the castle is no longer going to be the same player though, but we still have a top floor kind of aggressive roam. So let's go ahead and watch how this plays out. Palu's actually top floor with the mute now, and oh, they're actually going to switch up their top floor roam reinforcements. So once again, more little tiny micro adjustments to fuck over SSG. Last time they had the double reinforcement on IT and Garden. This time they're going to reinforce Garage single, and they're going to play Aqua. They're going to shift their roam top floor Aqua side, and I believe Volps is playing Barbed and C4 on the recruit to be able to C4 players coming Exo side. So this time they're actually going to give around cargo and storage a bit more. They're not going to play the vert above site on that side. They're going to play more so on Aqua side. It's a more drawn back roam, which is exactly what happens. SSG now are going for the roam clear. Because remember, SSG are adjusting based off the last round they played. Last time they had a super heavy roam up top, so this time we're going to get rid of that roam. But now, W7M have adjusted that roam. They're not playing in the same positions as last time. There's no guy to be found in top garage, and there's no guy to be found immediately. That guy's an Aqua now. He's fallen back to a different area that he can easily fall back. It's a light roam that they can waste time off of. Very interesting. W7M is such, when you really break it down and you really think about what W7M does to win these games, they're such a strategically brilliant team. So many, I mean, all of these teams, this is like the level of Siege we're playing at right now, and I'll break it down afterwards. Let's go ahead and just watch this round real quick first though. They actually do end up making it work with the C4, and that's why you brought the C4, because they knew he was okay. They knew they were gonna go for a top floor roam, so they just made it they made the kills inaccessible to the immediate side. And Palu's going to play in the proxy position, I believe, in E-Box. He's still going to be around this top floor with a shotgun. Oh, and they play it so well, man. And now it drops back to a 2v2. Palu has the control. They're both supporting each other. They were underneath the cargo hatch, but they're going to go for a 2v1 on the side player, which is the right call by SSG, but now Palu's going to start his flank because they know that guy's going for each other's side, but Palu's baiting out so well. If SSG committed the 2v1 the side player, that's actually could have been a very, very different scenario for them. But they basically, this is a game of chess and like cat and mouse reading, right? Like, if we think about it, Palu gets stuck in this position because he cannot move away, and SSG have him cut off. So they're waiting for him to go for something. Dots gets underneath to try to help out Palu and support him, but the Demo Strat comes through, and they figure out that Palu's right there on that flank, and now they're going to basically, okay, there's one guy on the top floor, one guy on the bottom floor. We're going to flow down and rush and hit the side on this guy, okay? And now, because they've decided to float into the site, SSG are expecting now Palu's going to flank because he just watched us go for his boy in sight. But now Palu knows this too, so Palu's going to jiggle it. He's not going to full commit it because that would be giving away a free pick. So it's like mind games. And now SSG have to commit because now they've run out of time to bait out a response anymore. And now they're going to double swing a shotgun on Aqua Stairs. They're actually going to do it really well, but they have no more time left. And this guy can just force plant and make it a 1v1 under the cover. Oh, and he saw the cross. Pre-fire on the other side is easy. And Fultz has to stick the plant. And Dots gets, wow. W7 get 5-0 on this defense half. Okay, here it is. I gave up on finding the last two reinforcements. They did have two reinforcements down, but here it is. This is basically what their strat is. Okay, basically, SSG are going to drone in, see the bottom floor setup again. You're going to be like, okay, hold on. It's the same strat. They're going to do a 2-2-1 roam. And so, realistically, we should do a 5-man top floor roam clear, and it'll work out perfectly. If we just 5-man clear top floor, and then we clear the next floor after that, it'll work every time. Because if it was 2-2-1, if it was 2 players up here just like last time, right? Ignore the no new adjustments on the site. If it was 2 players here, up in these areas of the map, and then it was 2 players here in these areas of the map. If we send 5, then it's a 5v2 top floor, then it's a 5v2 second floor. If we trade out, it's a 4v2, whatever, and then it's like we get site. It's freebies. SSG make the correct call if it was the last strat. W7M know SSG are gonna go. They're anticipating the top floor roam clear now, because last time we went for a site hit, and the opposite of a site hit is a roam clear. So obviously we're gonna switch it up. So they double reinforce Aqua, and their main only top floor presence is Aqua. Because it's enough pressure to, you know, make them not be able to just take Vert for free up here and just make Vert over the players playing Vert over site. But it's also an easy way to get out. They can just leave it. They said, hey, come take it. Come waste your time clearing us out and trade bodies, and then you won't be able to win execute. They've reinforced this wall to basically, because from here, the doorway can cut off or Aqua door in case Palu wants to get back. So they reinforced this wall because it, you know, helps save Palu from this cutoff, and now he can play shotgun. And now you'll notice the majority of the players from W7M are positioned around the Aqua staircase to come up and around. These 2 players right here, they can just go at any time and go support Palu up this double Aqua staircase. And to add an additional layer of support, they're going to castle barricade this doorway so that if the enemy opens it up and just sits on this cut over here on the fort cut, they can no longer stop this rotate down. All 3 of these players can now play to fall off or support each other. The site player can walk up his ass over here. 4 players, by the way. The 90 player can walk up Aqua and also rotate back into the site. Palu can fall down Aqua and go down at Hargo stairs in the site. And the player playing the Vert over the site, he has it if it's uncontested, but if it is contested, he has rotates to come back and, you know, help out the other people. And so it's like a fucking 4-way basically between the site player, these 2 players, and this player, and they all can help each other. And that's exactly what happens in the round. So despite the fact that SSG get teleport control for free, they're given this roam that they're going to waste their time against, and it's not a traditional roam setup. That it's not the free kills that they thought they had. And, you know, obviously we have 1 player Exo side. He's just kind of playing context to their side. And another thing is the C4s, right? Volps went to recruit with C4s, and he's basically saying, hey, come take top floor, come drone on top floor, it'll all get muted, and as you're walking through top floor, I'll spot you guys out. I can jiggle this doorway because my wall's reinforced, and as you guys walk towards me, Volps has its C4 prepped off my contact. So it's a really beautiful micro adjustment on the basement strategy that ends up winning them the round. And you'll see the exact scenario I was talking about. They get the pings right here, and you see the double up, right? The 2 players are outside on Aqua stairs right now. Dodez goes down in the opposite side. Where did he go from? Where did he die from? Vending stairs? He just dies to a cut, I think. And that's exactly what happens in the round. Newers dies to the C4. SSG are going for this Aqua clear now, but now you see how many players are doubled up, tripled up over on this Aqua side. There's another player ready to come support up Aqua stairs, and they just have a really, really good setup over here. And now you see Volps trying to come over to help, and they do get, in SSG defense, they do get cut off by the cuts. SSG is ready for it, but W7M end up playing the 2v2 that much infinitely better, as I described earlier in the video. Now 5-0 so far. So far, flawless defense. As we go back to kitchen cafeteria, I actually do think this is the exact same operator lineup, except for a smoke replacing the warden. The smoke is now going to play on the lobby stairs now, because, you know, if you brought a warden last time and the warden stopped you, and I love the forward thinking, right? Okay, so we're going to see, I'm going to go play this round, and we're going to see the scope post reinforce the outside hatch, but the forward thinking of this round is brilliant, because it's like, okay, if we brought the warden last time, and the SSG used a Ying to take lobby, which might have been the prep, this time we're going to bring a smoke, because they're probably going to not bring flash util to clear me, they're probably going to bring, like, real capital util, or a shield, like a Montaigne to clear me, and then what counters that? That's going to be the smoke. Right, but regardless of that, it's going to be the same setup. So once again, Fenrir playing over here, vending machine side to kind of deny the things. This time, W7 are wary of the fact that they have a gap. And they actually shoot through and power off the gap. So they know SSG has lurked in, and they double up on the player and fork to relieve that pressure. And they block off the 90 cut while rotating back into the site. Loban gets his aggressive pick on that top floor. Or I believe, where was it? No, he drops down into control through the hatch, and he gets his pick for flanking. So this time, they know SSG. They're wary of SSG taking that free control on that side, and they nip it in the butt. And they adjust, and they power. And this is not like a setup adjustment, because the setup's the exact same. This is a play adjustment, right? And now they just fall back. This is one thing I actually didn't catch off last time. The freezer has feet holes almost over the entire thing. That's one thing I didn't catch from last time. That probably was in their last setup. And now you see how the strat can work from either side. You know, if they come lobby, which we saw a glimpse of what happens if they come lobby, they can hold it from 90 from games. That's initially what it's intended. But if they come games 90 side, they just simply power this side. They block and they use this line of sight reverse to stop this entry into pool and games. SSG do smartly use the warden smokes to block it off, but Palu just hits a really good wall bang here through the smoke bang here, and it's just a perfect play by W7M. Now it's just a 4v1. It's just Fultz like waiting for his imminent death. But this one, I don't need a brute print it because it's the same strat. It's the same exact strat, but they make is different, because the first round they get caught off by SSG taking all that free control and getting immediate picks on that side of the map, right? 2 picks immediately off the rip on that side of the map, they get caught off by it. This time you see W7M anticipating the opposite side over push. Volps is not playing in front of that garden breach. He's going to actually be playing top garage because he's getting ready to flank down onto these players from SSG, knowing that they're going to take that free control opposite side of the map. Here comes Deimos on the fork side. Now, I'm sure they actually, W7M, this is where they are doing what SSG was doing the entire time on the attack side. They're adapting to what SSG did the last time, and it's going to work out for SSG because SSG didn't adapt to the adaptation. Okay, so Benjamin Master, he's going to solo take here again, but W7M is ready for it. Before Benjamin Master could even get a drone on the barricade, Frost is actually going to shoot down the barricade for his teammates so that they could double up on Benjamin Master and do what's called a power. In Pro C Sherman, it's called a power. It's when you throw your defender bodies at a certain position to go for the aggression. Now here comes Lopen. He's walked down the garage staircase. He's going to go for his own flank, and now they can fall off, peel back to site. This wasn't an adjustment on the setup, but this was an adjustment on the play at the beginning of the round. They anticipate SSG going for this opposite side over control, and they did a completely good response to it. And this is what, if you ever hear Spoit talk about siege theory and pro siege, this is what he calls a trigger, right? So typically strats have a lot of archetypal pushes that you play against. These are called triggers. These triggers should cause you to play a certain response, right? So if the enemy is going for a garage take versus a garden take on a certain side, it'll make you play your positions differently. You'll naturally flow bodies away or peel off depending on what your team's trained response is. This is W7M's trigger against the lurk take opposite side. Perfect 6-0 half on the defense, and now we go to the attack to see what W7M has cooked up on attack on a brilliant Nighthaven so far. And it looks like for the bans wise, they're probably just going to ban the default double wall denial ban. Double wall denial ban from W7M. SSG actually not going to opt to get the wall breach off the board. They're going to actually ban the double shields off the board. And now we see SSG defending the basement site as their first choice of defense. Time to see what W7M have cooked up. So they have double hard breach on their lineup. They have the Blackbeard, they have Ram for Vert, and they have hard breach cans on Palu. So actually a shit ton of hard breach for the bottom floor site, which you don't really see triple sets of hard breach being brought on this site, but it's likely just to do a full roam clear down. So they want to have, like, usually roams do have reinforcements up here, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. So one thing you got, like one thing about learning from attack strats is the initial entry positions and the initial util setups you want to see. So they're going to go for a fast ace entry. They're going to hop in E-box at the same time. Looks like that's a practice entry, and Dots is actually going to successfully get a kill, but the other entries from W7M are going to fail. So it looks like their top 4 entries work, but their mid-floor entries failed, or something along those lines. It looks trained. We'll figure out those positions later, but it was one going through garage door, one hopping in through E-box super fast, and I believe one flowing down through Aqua super fast. So like a bunch of entries, and these are really common entries that you guys can do with your ranked teammates. And it's really going to learn why you have these entries on what spots and why. Loban gets in the lower garage, cuts off the player of cargo, 3v3, so it's very much like a trade out, throw bodies, clear out this roam super fucking fast and figure it out from there. Not really keep everyone up strat, because if we keep everyone up, we'll likely have wasted too much time. And now the round's kind of just stalled up to a 3v3. W7M are just making vert. They're going to choose one end or the other, usually in this scenario. I think from what they have what's necessary. Oh, it's kind of hard. SSG also do the Animus completely castled off, boxed off strategy. It lets this player play around pillar for more breathing space in the late round. So now it's up to W7M. They're kind of in a fuck position here because they don't have anything to clear out any of the util now. Let's get the trade outs that happen in the room. And so they choose to just go for a kind of like desperation interest in the end of the round, and I guess it's just not going to work for them because the flashbang was really bad. Dodas gets a good refrag, but unfortunately, with the clash up especially, this is just basically unwinnable, and W7M do lose their first round in the series. Let's go ahead and study those entry spots so you guys know where to go in for a really fast roam clear if you want to go for it on a basement roam. So here are the positions. Ace is going through garage door. That's his entry position. Blackbeard is clearly fast hopping through the E-box window. Ram looks like she has the option of going through IT, but decided to double up with Blackbeard because Blackbeard died, right? Palu is going to fast entry through Aqua, which is super, like, a really important position to go for on an entry on basement, because once again, we saw earlier, Aqua is usually the fall-off position if you're going against a garage, IT, or, you know, garden side. Aqua fast take lets you get, like, the cutoff, that fall-off position, and then Volps actually will be in bottom garage, cutting off the players coming down, dropping off of top garage, perhaps having that mud control. So it's basically, we go super fast in the entries, and if you're falling off, if you're trying to fight us, then we fight you head on. But if you're falling off through Aqua, then you get cut off by Palu. If you're falling off through Garage, you get cut off by Volps. Now the biggest, most important thing here is you gotta make sure you do your pressure. You gotta make sure you open things. Palu opening up, he initially opened up the garden wall really fast, and we have the Ace opening up the IT wall super fast, because this is super, super important. Because can you imagine if you're on the roam over here and, you know, you're just playing here and this wall is closed and you're like, oh, finding my day. Blackbeard hops in, I shoot him, he's fucking dead, right? It's just he looks like an idiot. But if Palu opens this up, and I'm a roamer, and you guys know how it feels. This is pressure. This is what I like to call soft pressure. He opens up soft pressure on the map. I can no longer sit here and watch the Blackbeard hop in. So now I have to fall back or move away if I'm here. And now Blackbeard hops in, and now he's fighting me on this angle as opposed to immediately dying. You have to make the soft pressure. Same thing with IT here. He opens up his IT for his teammates, just opening up shit on the map to not telegraph the push and also move the defenders around, limit their mobility. Because one rule I have is as the round goes on, defenders have less mobility, because if you don't open the barricades around them, you don't open the walls around them, they could literally be anywhere. So make sure you always open your breaches, you open soft pressure across the map to make these rounds fruitful. And now as a defender, if you're roaming up here, you get cut off by Volps on the fall off over here. And if you're, oh shit, they're coming in, Blackbeard coming through, shit, run away, go to Aqua side, sorry about the reinforcement for the earlier strat, boom, Palu's already here to cut us off. That's the idea of this attack. Well, they unfortunately lose this. As you can tell by the time on the video though, we're gonna move on to what's gonna be our last attack in the video. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing all of W7M's attacks today, but we will see their control and storage attack. The space station, so we didn't get to see storage being played by W7M, but it is a site that you want to hold on really hard to that top floor, because once again, there's fur over the entire site. All of this floor, look over the entire site. If you have full vert control, you can stop any kind of plant. SSG are gonna play a super heavy top hole with both the Mira and the Clash up top. They're going to put this Mira on the IT wall again. Similar idea to before, to keep that wall closed. And especially if you have IT wall closed, you can make vert over the pillar plant itself. And they're going to actually do the flipped around top garage wall. I don't know if they're going to triple reinforce it off. I don't think they might. Ashen going for a spawn peak though, and Newer's going to hold down Aqua stairs with the Clash. Now Aqua is important with the Clash because once again, you walk down Aqua, you get into that 4 call. That's exactly where direct sight. Now let's see what W7M go for. Double hard breach once again, but we have the sledge. We have Lobin. Looks like he's going for another sort of like lurk type of play. The rest of the team seem to be gearing up for something. Yeah, so Hibana trick on this Mira wall. The Vengeance Master, will he go for a C4 on it? Look, they're going to open the top angle first, so people from the roof can see if that guy's going for the C4 trick. right? That scares away Benjamin Master, and now they can make the breach more walkable. Lopen is going for a lurk lobby side, and it's always good to have a single counter pressure lurk in a lot of strats because it keeps the enemy on their toes. And the biggest thing with a lurk player is your lurk player has to be very nuanced in his play. He can't just go super aggressive every single round, but he should take every space he can because it keeps the enemy on their toes. If you all just push from the same position, the same direct push, the enemy can just set up every single crossfire against it. But if you have a lurk constantly on the map, taking control fast in the free space, then that guy is constantly a threat, and so the enemy stays on their toes. But the thing is, you want to keep the enemy on their toes. If your lurk walks in and dies in 2 seconds, then you're no longer on your toes, and it's just GG. What was even the point of having the lurk, right? So you want to play slow when you need to play slow, and play fast when you need to play fast, and know which one to do. So here comes the clear onto the player. Wow, they had a Blackbeard going from underneath, and like 2 lurk entries already making their contact from the bottom floor up. Super interesting. They're actually not going to commit a full top floor clear. And now here comes that big Aqua stack up by SSG that we saw W7 themselves do earlier. But it looks like W7 identified a gap. It looks like they initially set up for a top floor clear, but they found a gap, and he's going to put his shield on his back so that the Clash cannot knock his shield back. And wow, look at the micro play from W7M. So fucking good. Look at the way they play off each other. Oh, the Clash. The Sledge almost sledges the Clash, but it evens up to a 3v3 because of the good play from Blackbeard to put his shield on his back. They power the shit out of the Clash. It works out. 2v2 now. SSG still have vert control. J9 drops down. Now it's a 1v2 for Palu. It's Hibana shotgun. Hibana shotgun for taking Aqua is insane, but it is one of the most, if not the most powerful shotgun in the game. With against Aqua is going to be a shotgun position, and that's probably why he took it with Hibana. I don't know. He didn't take it with Hibana shotgun last time. Here comes the 1v1. Climbing in the hard corner. Ashen tries to bait out the sound, but pros don't fake. Palu sticks it, and now he has a shotgun. He's going to swing. Oh, Ashen whiffs the bullet, and SSG gets 7-1'd. The best North American team on the best North American map gets 7-1 by W7M from Brazil. Very interesting. So let's go ahead and study this last round on attack because it seems very interesting. Wow. Now that I figured it out, this is sick. This is sick. This is one of the best like bait and switch strats you will ever see in Siege. Okay, this is one of the best. This is a crazy strat that essentially, this is their storage attack that is essentially a crazy crunch onto this barrels area of the map that is a key cut point between the top floor roam and the mid floor site. Okay, so once again, on the storage site, having this top floor control over site is super important, well, because it gives you literally all the vertical holes you need to stop any plant inside of site. For that reason, as a defender, you're setting up top floor to anticipate also a top floor roam clear for the attackers, because once again, you're making vert on the site. You get domain over site if you do that. The best fallback bridge point to site is Aqua. Is going to be this exact area. This Aqua stairs to barrels to site rotate area that we're seeing right now. This is the best way to bridge together this site and this top floor roam if we want to stay dynamic. So that's the idea that W7 are going for. They're going to start off the round. Hibana is going to start off on this position. Hibana opened the IT wall. Ace, I think they're also going to open the bottom garage wall. Ace also opens up garden side. He started off garden side and then rotated around. So I have the dotted lines as to where the start util position is really quickly. Remember, this is really important to have in your shots. The start util, soft pressure util positions to get it immediately down. So by opening all this up, this gets SSG's players top floor to be like, yo, this is a top floor clear. They're not going to hit side, they're calling top floor. It's soft pressure to throw them off the fact that now 2 players are entering the basement and 1 player is going through lobby. Sledge and Blackbeard, they want to creep their way up through this basement. They want to move all the way up the cargo stairs, which is right here, and they want to get out site right here. Right? They want to go straight into site right here. Right? And this is going to cause all those players from SSG to start flowing down the Aqua staircase. Like, oh shit, if they're all right here, ready to hit site, then that's going to cause the site player to be like, yo, there's guys near site, right? The fake top floor pressure, which now these players were up here, are now going to want to come down Aqua, because guess what? We need to help site. They're coming down to site. But who's going to come down this hallway? This Dokkaebi, lurking all the way from lobby side to come over here. And also, who's going to be on this window from very far away to make sure there's not a lot of free movement right here, and no one can swing, right? Because if they're on the staircase, and a guy comes around 4 call and just kills these guys, they're fucked. But who's on this window? The Ace is on this window. The ace is on this window. He's holding the cut from over here. So it's perfectly set up. They start off, step 1, pressure top floor, right? Pressure top floor, make the enemy thinks the top floor clear. Now, we get, because enemy's top floor, that makes a free gap through the basement, up the cargo stairs, and through lobby to lurk into cargo hit. And now, it's going to draw the enemies to start flowing from top floor down the aqua stairs to stop this cargo hit. And that's where Hibana, with her fucking shotgun, walks her shotgun ass into Aqua, because Aqua is a shotgun position. She walks her fucking shotgun ass into Aqua, off of that, and takes that control now that it's been destroyed by SSG. And that's exactly what happens. So, just like I said, Hibana's getting the main breach now. Sledge opens up bottom garage to make pressure bottom garage, make it seem like it's a normal take. Lobin gets into the opposite side of the map. Volps, look at Volps. Volps is over here, and he creates soft pressure. This is so important. Soft pressure on that garden wall, just like that. And now, here comes the side player finally makes contact with this basement lurk with the Blackbeard and the Sledge. And now the top 4 players are like, oh shit, we gotta come back to site. And they can't make up their mind. There's a player coming 90 side. It's going to be a lurk. SSG do actually win out that contact against Lobin. But now it's like, okay, what do we focus on? There's a top 4 player right here, but they're hitting our side players underneath. What the fuck do we go for? The Sledge and the Blackbeard, they choose to keep top 4 for a little bit. So for that reason, the Sledge and the Blackbeard are actually able to get into sight because of that. Right? They choose one or the other. You die to the Hibana shotgun, you fight the Hibana shotgun, or you fight the player coming up to the site. Dots gets in the plant position. And then one thing about Siege is there's so much to account for that typically teams end up not actually making the vert they need for this plant spot. The other plant spots are so much more popular, right? There's 2 other plant spots. This plant spot right here, so much more popular than this fucking plant spot, because usually you expect enemies to come in through this doorway. They're not supposed to come through the defender rotate to get into sight, so we don't have vert above this position right here. This is the popular plant spot. Popular plant spot number 2 is going to be by the pillar, so there's going to be vert above this pillar plant spot. But there's not a lot of vert typically made by the defenders onto this tuck spot right here, so W7M go for a freebie plant right here. Unfortunately for them, BP's above them, so they do start going. But one thing they do is Blackbeard puts a shield on his back. And because of that, then the knockback from the clash no longer happens. They get a double take a gunfight with pinched onto the players on the clash shield down here. Dotas gets one, Dot gets the other. This guy's fucked. Hibana comes down with a shotgun, takes Aqua now. And like clockwork, we see the rest of the strat happening in real time. Volps dies unfortunately to the vert. 3v3 happens. They go to hunt down this player by himself, and now the 2v2 once again. The SSG kind of just end up choking out against W7M, and Palu is able to win it. Most powerful shotgun in the game. And that is how W7M 7-1, the best team on NIGHTHAVEN from the best region of NIGHTHAVEN. SSG beat M80 on NIGHTHAVEN. SSG beat Dark Zero on NIGHTHAVEN. 2 fucking staple NIGHTHAVEN teams. You gotta remember, M80 is literally my Beast Coast roster that went undefeated on NIGHTHAVEN. SSG beat him. Hope you like that kind of video. Next time, let me know in the comments down below, like the style. I think I don't have time to watch these on my own beforehand, so I definitely have to keep learning the strats alongside you guys. But if you want to be alongside for more of the journey, do you want to see me like set up the strat by myself, speedrun mode, in the game itself, and like figure that whole thing out, or you know, like how do you like the blueprint representation? Is it too confusing for you guys, YouTube viewers? Would you rather me do it all in game and show you everything in game afterwards? Match replays will be more available later on, so that'll definitely be better to look at. But regardless, love you guys. Take it easy. See ya.